Hello and welcome to Contractor Outlook Newscast from the coffee shops. My name is Heidi Ellsworth, and we are here to talk about what's happening for all contractors. We really want to talk about the economy, the climate, what's happening, and let me tell you, one of the biggest topics is technology and AI. So we got the expert to come visit with us on this Contractor Outlook Newscast and talk about what is happening with AI. And that is Denver Riggleman with Hootl. Denver, welcome to the show.
I'm so glad to be here. Excited.
I have to tell you, I'm so excited to have you on here. You do this a lot on a little bit bigger networks than the coffee shops, but so we're pretty proud to have you on here today. Can you start out with an introduction, introduce yourself, and talk about a little bit about your company?
Yeah, sure. Denver Riggleman. Background was actually, as you know, technology in the military and intelligence community space. Started in Air Force intelligence with jets and bombs. And then that went over to the National Security Agency and the Air Force using data to identify bad actors and bad equipment that we could go after. And that bloomed into this whole technology thing where I was sort of introduced to machine learning and some of those things back in, you're talking middle, like 2003 to 2007, right? When I really got into it. So, but after that, I was Air Force until about 2003, went into NSA, National Security Agency Special Projects. Then 2007, Heidi, I started my first company supporting the Department of Defense and intelligence community, sold that in 2012, then went to the Pentagon, then became a congressman somehow, then did a bunch of tech work, helping congressional committees, then started another company. So my background's been pretty diverse, and my family runs whiskey distilleries in Virginia and Pennsylvania.
You keep busy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm coming to you from Houston right now. I traveled to Houston, which is part of this whole AI automation thing, which is so exciting that you're actually calling me while I'm taking like a lunch here in Houston while we're talking AI automation for video management systems.
I love it. And this is what is, I saw you first speak. First time we met was at the Roofing Alliance meeting last spring. And I was just blown away with what you were talking about with the future of AI and really taking it from other industries that have used it so successful and bringing it into construction. I would love for you to talk a little bit about, as you're seeing what's happened with some of your past businesses, whether that's defense or dental, kind of how are you translating your experiences and really looking at the construction industry and saying, hey, this is a fit?
Yeah, I think part of it, Heidi, which is so exciting, is we come in with no preconceived notions of what works for any customer. And when you're doing so when you're doing Department of Defense and intelligence community work, what we specialized in, and I look at this in the roofing community and the other communities we're talking to, it's called QRC, quick reaction capability. And when you're building to really specific requirements, you can build things fairly quickly. And I know people are like, oh my God, Denver, it's not that fast in the Department of Defense and intelligence community. But there are certain segments in the Department of Defense that have to move quickly based on what they call warfighter requirements. And I'm not trying to compare warfighters to roofers, right? But roofers have these very quick reaction capabilities that they need based on they see their growth exploding. And when you look at automation, we're not building flying robots that put shingles on and drop them from drones and they automatically hit. We're not building these complex systems of robotics and things like that. But this AI automation layer, what AI is really good at is streamlining specific types of what you might call mundane activities, but even some are complex, but it streamlines activities so that people can concentrate on their jobs rather than rolling resources and money into things that should be, I would say, and I'm not trying to, they should probably be satisfied at the lowest common denominator or at the lowest level rather than putting a lot of human brain work into simple automated tasks. And I think that's where that technology transfer happens into the trades.
It really does. And when you think about bringing AI in, I think a lot of the conversation that's out there right now is talking about call centers. It's talking about scheduling. It's talking about what contractors have really been focused on for the last couple of years, but that communication to their customers in the way the customers want it. And you've talked a lot about how you were able to do this in the dental world with insurance and kind of putting all that together. It makes sense to me as kind of first steps, because we know it's going to go much further, but first steps of how AI can optimize call centers, scheduling, that whole process for speed to lead.
Yeah, and estimation, right? And
Yeah.
when we do something, and we sort of coined it, and it, Heidi, I love acronyms and also initials for things, but initialization. But we call it over-the-shoulder engineering, where we're actually going into roofing companies, going into trade companies. Like we're at a huge one here in Houston that's not roofing, but interestingly, Heidi, it's part of the automation layers we sort of built. In dental, like I'm secret here, but also with the trades that we're talking to. But what they're looking at is trying to automate all their cameras and try to streamline their automation to take error out of human judgment, but also error out of specific simple tasks like scheduling or identifying threats. And when you look at what's happening in dental, we were able to take massive types of information and build a proactive automation layer rather than reactive. So let me give you an example and why I think this applies to roofing. If our system sees an issue, say I'm trying to verify your insurance, Heidi, if it sees an issue, instead of the AI just fixing the issue at the edge, it will go to the databases proactively, or even pick up the phone and call the person that they need to actually get the information from and have a conversation just like this.
Wow.
So it's a proactive AI model. I think when you're looking at something as complex, I know people are like the complexities we're seeing in roofing, specifically after doing dental and risk intelligence counterterrorism, those automation flows transfer, we're seeing some of those same complexities where I was very surprised at how complex some of their estimation to scheduling to job completion to leads, all that stuff, and where they had their gaps. And for us, we're just looking at this as a targeting solution. We look at the roofers and the leaders of these companies and other companies in the trades. They need to target those specific individuals. So we're building a targeting solution for trades, not just dental or orthopedics, not just risk intelligence going after bad guys, but we're actually looking at the objectives that roofers have specifically, or metal, or any of those other trades. We're looking at any property technology problem as a target. And we just have a different mindset based on the fact everybody we have comes out of NSA and other three-letter agencies doing artificial intelligence. Right.
Well, I think that's true. Like really understanding the customer, understanding what the customer experience needs to be. And there's some big differences between residential and commercial. Whatever kind of contractor you are, you're going to have different audiences that you're going after, but it's still basically the same. It's the same. You get the lead, you find out what they need and what they want. You do the estimation, you do the sales, you do the job, you do the warranty. I mean, and so I can really, it makes sense to me as you are kind of looking at this as the target and then how you take care of them all the way through. I think one of the things, Denver, that gets all contractors nervous is they are a relationship bunch, right? They were built on relationships. There's a handshake. They know their customers. They're out on the roof or down, building the buildings or coding the sports services, whatever it may be. And there's a little bit of fear and intimidation that a machine is going to be talking to their customers instead of a person. Can you talk about that a little bit and how people's kind of perspective needs to change going forward?
Well, we address that and we get it. And that's the thing, is we really do get it. The thing that we've seen with AI and specific automated tasks, when you're talking about insurance, we've already run into that issue. For instance, our AI picks up and says, "Hi, I'm AI Johnny." Now, we don't say AI Johnny. That'd be a little weird. But hi, I'm AI Johnny. We've noticed that Lisa, we're missing 23 specific portions of this form here. And the first question, we want to make sure we validate our date of birth because there's two different forms that are different. Our AI will talk just like that. What we're finding is that things are so scattered that some of the insurance companies go, "We won't talk to AI," which is against rulemaking in the Congress, but there's no enforcement mechanism. So what we're finding is some people are comfortable with it, some people aren't. But for really simple, mundane tasks, if a customer can call and say, "Hey, when are they coming out here?" Oh, hi, this is Bob. We have you scheduled at 5 p.m. This is AI Bob. Is there any other questions we have? Well, I do have some pretty complex questions. Well, give me a shot. If not, I can transfer you to a human operator.
Yeah.
We already have that built into our automated system also, which is insane. There's no button pushing. It's a voice activated module, right? That says, oh, you want to go there? Sure, we got you. Just hold on 1 second, please, and we'll get you to a human. So these are the kind of things we're trying to, it's a huge shift, but break. But it's the ability for AI automation layers to reach out to multiple data sources so you don't have to make those phone calls.
And that is, when you kind of think, I'm just thinking about that because I think it is a mind shift, Denver, in that how many of us actually go on to chats, right? And we're chatting, right? We're trying to get an answer and I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm just going to chat. Well, what percentage of that is AI? Probably pretty high. And
well over 8 out of 10.
Huge 8 out of 10. And we're not thinking twice about it. So what's the difference between that chat and listening to somebody and then incorporating that into our business?
And that's exactly it. When you have the first interaction with the customer, if you're like, listen, and I know it's a what we call it in the military, it's tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs, right? Or your SOP, your standing operator procedure. If you go out to a customer site and you've already done all their estimates through AI, right? Or you're looking through that, or you're just validating that, you're having your whole automation chain. How awesome would it be? Hey, customer. Hey, Billy, we just want to let you know that you always have this human interaction, but any question we have, our AI can answer those questions for you. And I just want to tell you, it doesn't F up.
Yeah. I love it.
Right. And we just want to tell you, as the best customer interaction for us is to make sure that every part of the process is seamless, but it's also accurate. And I think that's the thing we're starting to see, even where I'm at here in Houston today, is that they're like, you know what? We have, 80 people in this control room. But is there any way we can triage the immediate information initially so that those 80 people aren't screwing up on the simple stuff? They already have the stuff outlined on their screen that AI has already validated and automated before they get to the human interaction. That's the first step. That's sort of just introducing people to the concept, right? I've never had whiskey before. Let me try beer first. So, right. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get people just to try the beer first, and then we want to go to hard whiskey. So as you know, I own a distillery, so sorry about this, but that's what we're doing, right? We want people to be very, very comfortable with just those really basic automation layers. And what we're seeing with the requirements coming from these companies is they don't even know the possibilities until they say, Denver, is there any way, can our camera actually, can it capture the person and then transfer the information that person's within this bounding box? And even if they don't look like they're a criminal, they have a flashlight, so it automatically identifies that there's a light flashing, and that could be an indicator outside the bounding box. Absolutely. Wait a minute, that takes care of the human saying that person's not in our box, but is there a criminal? I could watch them. The AI's got their eye on it, and it takes away that person's attention while they're watching another box, right? So, or a container. So those are the type of things when we explain to people, their eyes just pop out of their head what? You can automate that. So those are some of the things we're doing here now.
Well, and I think in the construction trades, a lot of people think immediately those call centers, scheduling, customer communications, but there's so much more that you are looking at. And, when we really look at streamlining the labor, the production of making sure, I'm just thinking what you're saying with video right now, of course, takes me to safety. Is everybody wearing their safety gear? Do they have the right
PPE
products,
identification.
right streams?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we are looking at PPE identification right next door right now.
Okay.
So yeah. And the thing is, right, when do you switch to infrared to thermal? Now, we're talking about systems that are very complex where I'm at right now. But when I think about using imagery, right, if you're doing roofing schedules and stuff like that, and you're talking about the next 10 years, they're adding LiDAR or multispectral, hyperspectral imagery, looking at more and more specific. As cameras get better and better, you're going to get more and more specific measurements. Listen, I didn't come from roofing, right? So all I can do is look at the requirements that's given to us by the companies. And it's interesting because they're like, well, Denver, you guys aren't experts in roofing. Nope. But we are experts in AI and automation and data science and graph neural networks, and also just how to get things done simple, because we had to do things. Listen, military problem sets for AI are not just, hey, what kind of tank is that? Right? It's like, hey,
Right.
what kind of, based on the color coming from the muzzle, what is the velocity? Because we can know the velocity because the color identifies a specific type of munition. And then how far can that munition go? And what is the threat issues with the people on the other side of that munition based on where they're based? That can all be done in literally a millisecond with AI. Why can't we translate that type of capability and technology to the trades where they're always in front of the curve, what we call the technological bow wave? I'm sorry, I get excited about this. I apologize. I get really excited.
I love it. I
Because
love it.
I'm looking at problems in roofing and metal and fabrication where we're at right now. We're looking at those problems as targets, not as just a problem to solve, but how do you get left a boom on the target, right? How do you
Right.
plan for the targets before you hit the target? And that's what we're trying to do with AI automation.
And there's so much potential because right now with our huge labor shortage, especially in the field and with skilled labor, to be able to start figuring out how to make things from deliveries to staging to just getting stuff using the brain power of watching all these different programs and bringing it together and training for crews. I think it's going to be revolutionary. Personally, it's just one of those things that we need.
Well, you look at one company we talked to is using what, 4 or 5 CRMs, and we're like, really? Okay, can we take a look? Because we don't know, right? We don't know why you need 4 or 5 CRMs for this specific problem set. So we go in there and our guys are like, well, have you thought about this? And the thing that's crazy is people are like, oh, are you looking to replace all CRMs? No. What if we do a specific problem, a bespoke problem based on a company that's, say, a $200 million company or a $2 million company? Why can't that bespoke problem that we're fixing be scalable to other parts of the industry? And then you have teammates who can help you push those scalable industry standard stuff, going forward. Does that work in this? It sort of works in the military, sort of works in some of the other things. I know that there's some companies that want that competitive advantage and we can build to that. But what if you build a better mousetrap or a mousetrap that's never been built? What if you build a rhino trap instead of a mousetrap, and that rhino trap is scalable across industries? That could actually help you be in that tech space where you dominate that tech space and can help other individuals without getting into your competitive container. Those are the type of things that we try to talk to people about.
I wanted to work with a supplier partner I respect.
I wanted a partner who respected me.
We needed a partner with employees who care as much as we do.
We needed a partner who values relationships.
I wanted a partner that would help me grow my business.
We needed a partner that would help us succeed.
SRS Distribution delivers more than building products. SRS delivers customer success.
Well, and I mean, my own personal experience with EagleView, we did that. Right? We brought something no one thought of, except for 2 contractors who were up on a roof measuring it, thinking there has to be a better way. And then it's scaled. Now it's just a given across with many companies using it and doing it. I think in Denver, I don't want this to be all about the fear, but I think there's a lot of fear out there. So I want to address one other thing that you hear, and I hear this on the news channels. I hear it from the industry all over, but people are going to lose their jobs to AI. And this is a bad thing. I have my own opinions on that. I think we need to be upskilling our folks. No one should lose a job to AI. It should only make our lives better. But what are some of the things as you were talking to different folks about this, and especially what you did through the dental, what should contractors be thinking about when it comes to their teams?
Yeah, so I'm going to be very blunt and honest. AI will take jobs that automation can automatically take over for. Call centers, I would say in the next 15 to 20 years will be all AI regardless. And because there's no workers' comp, there's no sick leave, right? It's power.
Right.
It's power, processing, and storage.
Yeah.
Right? Now there's costs related to that, but human cost goes away. But then I sort of propose this. Here we go. So say you lose 10 people at the admin level, and I'm not talking about all admin. I'm just saying admin level or processing level, or they're processing calls that AI can do easily. But what if you're doing 10 more roofs a month? So what is your ROI on the flip for larger revenue cycles, revenue streams, based on the fact that AI is automating mundane tasks? Are you now hiring people at a higher level of skill?
Yes.
And with that higher level skill, right, are you able to do more jobs? Are you able to expand your gross revenue with a higher margin? And with that higher margin, are you having employees? Right now, you actually can start looking at investment in other areas within your company. So now you have this cascading effect. And when we were in the military, it's first, second, and third tier effects or cascading effects. What's your cascading effect on your ROI? And then I tell people this, now you're big enough and you see a small company over here that could actually benefit from your automation. Why aren't you actually buying that company, right? This is life. This is how things work. And if you're afraid, the first adopters in this space are taking a lot of risk. It's scary. But if they win, that risk payoff could be massive, because a 1% to 2% growth every year because of automation after 5 years, that's exponential growth.
Right.
And so anyhow, that's how I look at it.
And I do too. And I really think and I've been hearing this, Denver, in a lot of the, I travel a lot, go to a lot of conferences. I'm hearing this in a lot of different places, but how important the skilled labor is going to become. This is not something, now maybe robots down the road can do more of this, but right now we need people installing roofs. We need people installing sports courts. We need that. And so to shift some of this for some of the folks who maybe were in a call center to say, hey, because of automation, because of AI, now working in a skilled trade is you'll make more money. It's a great career. You get to be outside if you like being outside, There just seems to me like we have to make that fundamental shift of understanding, and not just in the workplace, but in the educational system, of where skills are going to be needed into this new AI, this new technology world that we're going into.
So I know I'm dating myself, but 32 years ago when I was working on jets, they had these things called technical orders, or TOs. Those TOs, if a C-141 came in and we had to replace the high-frequency radio coupler, you'd have to go get a TO. And by rule, that TO had to be opened while you were doing that job, and you had to document how you were going through the technical order to fix it specifically based on the problem set. Now, there was some dynamic thinking, but there were certain things you had to do that you actually had to document. Now, so you have a peak down, you're sitting at, it's 20 degrees on top of a T-tail, 40 feet in the air on a cargo jet with a TO strapped to your little thing here where you're trying to make sure you're pulling the right breakers and stuff while you're fixing something, right? 30 years ago. Why can't you digitize near real-time training using artificial intelligence? Now, the reason I'm going to be very careful here is we already have requirements coming from some of our customers that have had ideas on this, and we've already sort of started to mature based on what we're building for proposals for some of these companies. So why can't you use AI for not only training up to the point where they're apprentices, but how about on-site, real-time AI interventions?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I'll go into. But that's
virtual reality is making that, you have the right pair of glasses on, somebody's talking to you, you're seeing it in your screen. I mean, I know it's Star Trek, but it's true. We're seeing it every day out there right now. And a lot of the automobile companies are doing it. We've seen that through RT3. So, no, this is not like futuristic. This is today.
It's today. And think about how much time you save, not only with people on roofs or doing specific types of work, but think about the safety, just the safety, the exponential safety factor you have on people being on roofs less, knowing they can get this done, not trying to figure something out in real time, but they can actually just know what needs to be done at that specific time, and it lessens your risk profile. There's so many cascading effects to time savings and efficiencies. It's really hard to quantify. I think the intangibles downstream are huge.
They're huge. I agree. I think there is so much that's going to change, and we're going to need to have our next generation of crews. There's going to have to be some mental changes, and then those mental changes are going to be through training, using technology training. I think, we've had this, and it's a little off topic, but you bring it up, it just makes me think of it. We've had this ongoing conversation of how do we get workers on the roof to use safety equipment? They won't use safety equipment. But guess what? Within the next 5 to 10 years, they're going to have no choice, because that site's going to be monitored by AI every day saying, you don't have your harness on the right way. You don't do this. I mean, this is going to be things that are going to change how we think and the culture of our workspace. And I think in such a great way. But it's going to be hard for some people.
Why, if I'm running a company today, and probably some of the people listening like, Denver, you obviously never ran a roofing company. And I'll be like, yep, I haven't. But here's Denver's take. If I'm looking at long-term insurance rates, right, for workers' comp and things like that, why am I not setting up because a 2-camera mast is pretty inexpensive. But we're looking at some of those automation things right now on looking at PPE, but other types of things that automatically identifies. If I'm running a site, I'm putting up a 2-camera mast on a tower on a building site with PPE detection quantified, and it will automatically alert if it senses no PPE. Now you're like, well, Denver, you could have false alerts. Yes, there are boundary lines. There's automation challenges.
Better false than dead.
Better false than dead. But can you imagine the first company that can actually put up a mast in 5 minutes with an auto connect? And I'm telling you stuff that actually happens. I'm not even, this is not science fiction. And automatically, as people are going on the roof, it can monitor. And not only that, it can film. And then you can use that for training videos in the future.
Yeah. It's so
winner,
cool.
chicken dinner.
100%. And it's saving lives. It's saving lives. And it's also performance down the road. I mean, to be able to watch and know, and then also theft from job sites. I mean, there's so much that with the video right there that you already were talking about that AI can do and alert people, and it just changes the whole picture.
And if somebody messes with it, it also alerts. It's an amazing technology. And everybody's like, well, how much is one of those cameras? Well, you can get a service to do that. But do you know one of these cameras that do this, you can get for about $3,000 to $4,000?
How much are you saving?
The downstream effects again. And when we're talking to people who are running multi-thousand camera profiles, and they're looking at automating all those into one call center with an AI triage up front, think about what you could do with roofing.
Yeah.
If this is already being done, and then you're thinking, now listen, people might have a $10 million company and their EBITDA is 30%, or they're looking at like Denver, our gross revenues. We're doing really well. Great. But somebody's going to look at you as a competitor at some point. And if they're $10 million and they're making another $100,000 a month on that line, I'm just making this up as I go along. What are they doing for investment downstream that you can't do? That's where people start to get a little bit hazy, like, well, I still don't need it. You might not. But it doesn't hurt to look, and it's not just us, right? It's to look at what does an AI automation platform do? What are your CRMs? Where are your gaps? And if one of your employees is coming to you and say, I can't do this anymore. We're doing 3 CRMs and I still don't have a connector here, and I'm still doing this manually. It's taking me days. Automate it. Just freaking automate it.
Yeah.
Automate it.
Take the time to do it. So, okay, I know this half hour, 30 minutes has gone so fast, but I have two questions.
Sure.
One, I think there's a lot of people out there who are worried. So going back to how people are using AI right now with ChatGPT, with Claude, with all of these different things, and then starting to use it with call centers. And as they're going through, there's a lot of concerns about cybersecurity. So thoughts on that? Like, what are some of the things, basic things for contractors and companies out there, construction companies, on just being aware and thinking about cybersecurity?
First of all, you should have a cybersecurity training plan. And if I hope to God nobody is loading their proposals and documents into a chat app or a Claude app with just a public app. Your data's public. You better have your own partition. You better have your own thing, if I can put that simply. So the first thing is, how are people using AI? You need an AI trainer. You need to have somebody who looks at security at the person level if they're utilizing AI. The other thing, too, is what we're doing with our automation line is, since our guys came from NSA, we're building in actually cybersecurity architectures into the actual automation process, so nobody has to go bolt on something else. 5 CRMs, plus you have a cybersecurity payload, right? And we even have people, we're going in, they're like, hey, Denver, I said, what are you using for cybersecurity? They're like, GoDaddy. And I'm like, oh my God, it's not bad, So, but really cybersecurity needs to be part of, right, what you're doing when you're looking at that. But it's not just the cybersecurity, the platform and the automation you're building. It's how people are trained to that AI. So I want to tell everybody now, please don't be just getting a personal ChatGPT app and putting in proposal information from your company. That's public data, and that data is actually parsed by the AI to utilize for other people, and they can actually access that intelligence. So just to let people know.
I love it. That's so, and we've been hearing a lot about that. Don't do the free stuff, do it the right way. I know we have our folks working on it with our company. It's like, so much. Okay. I want to bring this down to basics. I have a construction company, whatever it may be out there. And I'm like, I don't even know how to get started with AI. I don't even know what to do. I mean, I'm scared of ChatGPT because I don't know what's public, what's private. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to use it. I don't even have a call center. So how am I going to use it reception? So Denver, where do they start? I mean, the big guys know what they've kind of already down this road, but for the medium to small construction companies out there, what's your first steps that they should be looking at?
The first step, this first step I don't want to be controversial, but the first step is if you have a CTO or somebody who's running your technology center, make sure they're well-versed in AI. You have to have personnel that already know that they have to be looking at this going forward. The second thing, if you want to instantiate AI into what you're doing, the worst thing for somebody who's also, as you know, is counterterrorism and against disinformation, propaganda, and radicalization, is you don't want to do your own research, right, and not look at improper sources. But a good thing is to look at AI automation types of literature. What does that look like? What are CRMs using now for AI, especially the companies that you're utilizing? So it's really sort of, I'm not saying do your own research, it's proper sourced research to look at how AI automation is being used in the trades now. So the first, make sure you have somebody on staff, or if you want to go this route, make sure you have somebody who's not just saying, I know AI because I have a ChatGPT app. As you know, our CTO, Brian, who you've met, has his master's in AI engineering, right? I mean, and I got doctorates on our staff for data science. There's that. Second thing, obviously, look at what AI automation can do. But the third thing is you have employees. Your employees will tell you where those gaps are. Can those gaps be fixed by technology? And you need to pay attention to the people who are running your processes. They're the smartest people on your team as the expert that's running all of your HR, all of your scheduling, all of your estimation. Those individuals will let you know where the gaps are. How do those gaps transfer to your expert on staff and to what you've looked at in AI automation? Last thing, number 4, call me.
And I can say you can find Denver under our speakers bureau, because he also speaks. So if you are part of associations for a company or all, get a hold of him. He's very active with us at the coffee shops. We'll get you his email. His information's in the directory to get all that information. So, Denver, wow. I'm just so happy the roofing industry. I'm going to send a special Christmas card to Reed Ribble saying thank you for bringing Denver into roofing and
yes, my good friend Reed.
And into coatings and metal and outdoors and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for all you're doing.
Heidi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here today.
Love it. Love it. And thank you all for listening. Please check out all of our Contractor Outlook Newscasts sponsored by SRS and find out what's happening. The economy, technology, climate. That's what we talk about. We let you know what's happening on that big level for all construction companies. So check it all out under the Read, Listen, Watch navigation on all of our sites. Please subscribe and set those notifications. We will be seeing you next time on Contractor Outlook Newscast.